And I said, I think you really need to start addressing what's going on from the inside out. Yeah, I know you have this physical pain, but you've been in so much pain and you had a lot of frustration around what happened with the surgery because he felt like the surgeon did something he wasn't supposed to. So not only is the physical stuff there, now he has all these emotions inside that are triggering off these other things, right? And so that's why I told him, I said, you got to really look at addressing this from the inside out. You have all this stuff going on. Yes, you can keep coming, getting massage, going to PT, but you need to do something for you inside because it's triggering and it's contributing to your pain.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Being Movement, where we inspire you to take action, influence you for change, and motivate you for success. Hi, I'm your host and coach, Len DeCarmine, and I have to tell you, we have an exciting show for you. What we're going to be doing this evening is that we're going to be releasing, realigning, and resetting with our special guest. So let's see how well I do this intro tonight. Our special guest tonight is Teresa Porter. She has worked in the health and fitness industry for over 20 years as a massage therapist, yoga instructor, and an emotional release practitioner. From working with clients, she has seen firsthand how our emotions can be connected to our physical issues. For her journey of working through her own shit. Now, that has a special meaning tonight, more than what you might think. So we're going to be covering that. Her own shit manifested in her own body and her clients and how to overcome it. So you see how many people lack the knowledge in seeing or making those connections. So Teresa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you guys, and I'm excited to be on a platform to be able to educate people the importance of this connection that we're going to talk about.
What this show is about is educating and informing people so they can make better choices, make better decisions, and be more resourceful in life because the tools are out there to fix a lot of things that they might be dealing with, either emotional issues or physical issues. And we're going to be talking about that tonight, how to realign, how to release, and how to reset in the world. But before we do that, Teresa, let's talk a little bit more about your journey and how you got here. Would you mind sharing that?
Sure. I'll do maybe a slightly longer version than I do when I do stuff like this. Just because I always, when I get into something, there's a why behind it, and I have a personal journey or testimonial of why I decided to learn that modality. Okay. So in 8th grade, I was in a car accident, and we were T-boned, and I got really bad severe whiplash to the point at the time I was a gymnast. I had to stop. I couldn't do gymnastics for a whole year, and I couldn't do 8th grade PE anymore because I was in such bad condition. And so my mom started taking me to all these Western doctors trying to figure out what was going on, trying to help me. And it wasn't until I started seeing a more naturopathic chiropractor that in his office, he had a lady who did iridology. And a lot of people are not familiar with that technique at all. But basically what it is, they read the patterns of your eyes to see what's going on with your body. And then they use kinesiology, which is a form of muscle testing, to see what your body needs to heal. So I started seeing the chiropractor, this lady, and her husband was a massage therapist. So I was seeing all three of them. And from going to all three of them from Western doctors, I started feeling so much better. So at the age of being in 9th grade at that point, I was fascinated by this innate ability that my body had to heal. And I was just like a sponge. Every time I went in, I was like, question, like, tell me more. So by my sophomore year in high school, I knew I wanted to be a massage therapist. Well, a lot of naysayers were like, that's not a real profession. Go get a degree. So I listened to them for about a year, and then I went back, and I already checked the school out. Long story short, I graduated from massage school. I've been practicing for 21 years.
Great.
And so my other background of yoga is after I had my first daughter, I had severe back pain to the point where I, again, went to these Western doctors, and I got an MRI, and they couldn't diagnose what was going on with my back, but I was in such pain that I couldn't exercise. I couldn't do the things I enjoyed doing. Being a mom and young, I was like, I shouldn't be feeling like an old lady, right?
Sure.
And so from there, I was just like, yoga, I've heard yoga is really good and Pilates for your back. I'm going to start doing this regularly. And I started going to an acupuncturist to help with my back pain. And so the combination that I kind of came up on my own with acupuncture, walking, and yoga and Pilates, I started feeling so much better. So me, I'm always the why, like, okay, why is this helping? Why am I feeling better? And so I decided to go get trained in yoga and Pilates. And that was in 2004. I went to Scottsdale Community College and I got my teaching certificate there. So like everything along the way that's happened to me, I go and get trained in it because I was fascinated by what it did for me. And then the last piece is after working with clients, I don't know, like 15 years in, I just kept seeing like these people that I couldn't help, my clients, because how often they came in once a week, twice a week. And no matter what technique I tried on, that physical pain wouldn't go away or that area wouldn't release. It was just so locked up. And so I personally started going to this practitioner for some really intense stuff that came up in my immediate family. There's a family member who was dealing with addiction and it was like breaking up our family. It was really, really stressful. And I didn't know how to manage my emotions. Like it was just so much. And so I went to a practitioner. She was a retired RN and she did EFT, she did hypnotherapy, she did Reiki, and she did this modality called emotion code. And she did a lots of different things with me during this time, but at the time, the ones that stood out the most was emotion code. And I was again fascinated by this modality of I could go in and she could release these emotions by using a magnet and kinesiology. And I felt so like I just feel like the weight of the world was lifted off my shoulders, and things that used to make me reactive wouldn't make me reactive anymore. And the people I was holding anger to and frustration to, I could just feel that go away. And so she told me for years, she's like, Teresa, you need to get trained in this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have time, you know. She's like, you'd be one of the only massage therapists combining these modalities together. I was like, yeah. So finally, long story short, I knew I needed to get trained in this, and I did. So this is where I started blending the yoga movement with emotion code and then, other stuff. And I kind of created it into a coaching program to help people make that connection of like, why are you having this physical pain? And is it tied to emotions? And so that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
You kept referring to the doctors as Western doctors. What's up with that?
So in my field, I've always gone to more naturopathic doctors, even from growing up. Like my mom was a health nut, and so I would consider Western doctors like your traditional medical doctor that you would go to. That's a Western doctor. Eastern medicine is more of like all these alternative methods that's my go-to. Like I'll go get acupuncture. I'll go see a practitioner that does emotional release work before I go to my medical doctor, unless I know I really need to go to a medical doctor.
Most individuals don't talk about that stuff. All they do is they talk about the trauma on the physical side. They're not looking on the emotional side, on your mind, how to release that so that you're releasing it here so then you can release it within your body.
Yeah, that makes such a huge difference when people can make that connection, right? So I always tell people when you have something going on, you need to address it from all different angles, right? So maybe you do need to go to a medical doctor, a Western doctor, or maybe you do need to get acupuncture, but then you also need to do like emotional release work, like to really get to the root of the problem, help it to go away and not just do a Band-Aid fix, right? Like kind of attack it from different areas. And then depending on where you're at, what's going on, maybe in different timing, maybe not all at once, but like for a couple weeks, do this and then do this. Then that's where you have to kind of go inward and kind of connect with your body and see what the timing right feels for you. At least that's what I do. Like I kind of, what feels right for me right now that I need to do that's going to help me address X, Y, and Z, whatever it is I'm dealing with. Okay, so for instance, one of my clients, he's been a client of mine for probably almost 10 years. He recently had a major surgery, and he's having all these complications now. And I told him probably back in September that he probably needs to go to like a homeopathic doctor, come see the acupuncturist. So I work in an acupuncture office in Tempe. And I said, I think you really need to start addressing what's going on from the inside out. Yeah, I know you have this physical pain, but you've been in so much pain and you had a lot of frustration around what happened with the surgery because he felt like the surgeon did something he wasn't supposed to. So not only is the physical stuff there, now he has all these emotions inside that are triggering off these other things, right? And so that's why I told him, I said, you got to really look at addressing this from the inside out. You have all this stuff going on. Yes, you can keep coming, getting massage, going to PT, but you need to do something for you inside because it's triggering and it's contributing to your pain. But as for like, I couldn't give like a recipe, like if you have this going on, I just would say, do your research. If you have someone you can go to that maybe can address it, ask them for referrals or recommendations, and just start doing your own research and like feeling how that feels to you. That's all I can say. That's how I go off of like, how do I feel inside when I'm listening to this? Does this sound right? Or no, I need something else with that. It's not quite the practitioner I'm looking for.